Yes, guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to a EAFC25 career mode to round out EAFC25, and we are taking over at Sheffield Wednesday Football Club, who are in real life in absolute dire straits at the minute, and we are here to take over, to get the reins, pull the reins back in, and ultimately try and guide this club back into the top flight of English football. And we'll do that any way we can. You can see on screen obviously the stuff going in the background in terms of the actual game sort of objectives and everything, but just to give a bit of background as to why we're doing this. As some of you hopefully probably know, it's a really sad situation at Sheffield Wednesday under their current owner, Dehon Chansiri. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Players, staff, late payments into their salaries for the last 4 or 5 months. They've got a really wafer-thin squad, which you'll see, and in the background you can see that I'm adding some youth players to it. You'll see in the background here the squad they've had is really, really thin. That's due to obviously due to the late salaries. I think there's some rule, if they're paid late their salaries for 2 months in a row, they are allowed to exercise the option to terminate their contract, which a lot of them have done. But some of them have stayed behind, which is the team you can see on screen now. And we've added a couple of young players, the 2 young players we brought over from Youth Academy just to bulk the squad out a little bit. There is one player left on this, which you'll see in a minute, which is Malik Wilkes. He's out on loan at Rotherham currently on the game. I tried to recall him and release him, but it won't actually let me due to the squad size, so we do have to keep him. But the rest of the squad is the squad as it is as of today with Sheffield Wednesday. Barry Bannon has recently just signed a new contract, their captain for the season, so that's a good sign for them, but it's still a really sad situation. There's even questions as to whether they're going to be able to play their opening championship fixture next week against Leicester. They've had to cancel some of their pre-season games because the players have refused to play. So it's a really bad situation. Obviously it's one for you to look into and make your own judgment on, but it looks like the leadership at the top of that club is not in a good position. Their finances are just absolutely down the drain at the minute, and something needs to change there. In real life, they have changed their manager. They've parted ways with Danny Roll, and they've brought, I think he's called Pedersen, in as the manager. They've had to close the stand at their stadium due to safety concerns with it as well, which also isn't a good look. So overall, just a really poor situation for Sheffield Wednesday. But that's why Rusty's here. Rusty's here to try and get this squad, the squad that they have currently got, into a good place, using youth players, using the players we've currently got in the team, and hopefully we can do something good and get this team into the best place possible. So the first transfer window is disabled. I think in real life they've actually got a transfer ban for 3 windows, I want to say, but we've banned the first transfer window, so we are just with the squad we've got a minute, and you can see they're absolutely wafer thin. We've got the minimum amount of substitutes available. We haven't got any reserve players, so any injuries or anything is going to really mess us up. So, as I say, Youth Academy is going to be a big thing here. We're going to invest into the Youth Academy, hopefully get some youth players coming in, and hopefully bulk the squad out over the next 6 months until the transfer window. And then we'll see where... I'm going to basically base it on where we are in the league as to whether we allow ourselves to start signing players, but obviously that's all going to come under restrictions in terms of values, wages, etc. So there are going to be some caveats to that. We'll decide it as we get there. But for now, we're just stuck with the squad we have got. It's not a bad first 11, to be totally honest with you. I think they finished around about 12th last season in the Championship. Obviously, they did have a lot more players. But the players they have got left, there's some good players in there. Ugbo up front's going to be massive for us. They've got a good midfield with Barry Bannon and Nathaniel Chalobah in there, 2 experienced players. They've got a decent back line with players like Deshaun Bernard and Dominic Iorfa in there. Some other experienced Jan Valery, ex-Southampton player at right back. So there's some good players in there. It's just about how we can get the best out and hopefully manage the season as best we can without, as I say, too many injuries or anything like that. So hopefully we won't have some sort of revolt in the team where more players leave and we're stuck in a really tricky position to not be able to fulfil the fixtures in the game. But you can see in the background, one of the young players we have brought over from Youth Academy straight away, 16 years old, was James Butler. Left winger, decent pace, but needs to work on his shooting and his passing. So that is going to be one thing that we definitely need to make sure we get right with him. And then another position change we had was another player in the Youth Academy, not old enough to sign up to the first team yet, but Cesar Dinu from Romania. We did originally put him down as a left midfielder, but that was before we decided on the formation and everything. So we are actually going to move him back to being a winger. And again, decent pace, 76 sprint speed. Not the greatest. I think he's about 5'3", so he's not the most physical player ever, but his shooting, his passing needs to improve again. And then the final position change we've got for this part of this episode is Jamal Lowe, who is in game a striker originally, but he, again, good pace, 86 sprint speed, 84 pace overall, good shooting, good dribbling. So we're moving him to a right wing. Obviously, we've got Ugbo up front. We're playing the 4-3-3, so we need Jamal Lowe on that right wing. Get the pace down the sides, get the crosses in, and hopefully get us some goals alongside Ugbo. You'll see, this is what I'm expecting straight away. First pre-season game, we go to quick submit, it says you don't have enough players on the bench to sort of make a full bench. So obviously they allow us to play the game, but we don't have the maximum amount we can have on the bench. So that's the position we're in at the minute. As I say, youth players will come in, we will bottle the squad out a little bit, but it's going to be a tricky one, especially this first sort of 6 months till the transfer window, and then for the whole season as a whole, really. But we got a 2-2 draw in the first pre-season game. Jamal Lowe did get 2 goals in that one, and then that puts us into the second game against Huesca, the Spanish team, who, again, we changed the squad around a little bit just because it's pre-season. We take out Bernard, we bring in Palmer in that left-sided centre-back role. We had a look at some other players we could take out. We took Ingleson out in the centre midfielder, and we brought the young player Butler into left wing, and then McNeil up front for Ugbo, just to give players a little bit of game time, see what players are like during the pre-season. Now's the time to obviously see what those players can perform like, and unfortunately we did actually lose that game at 3-1, but it is the right back Valerie that did get us our 1 goal. So 1 draw and 1 loss from pre-season currently, and then our final pre-season game will be against Sparta Rotterdam, who, I think from memory, they used to be a decent team. I think they've been in the Champions League a few times. I remember them playing a few Premier League teams a few times over the years. So we knew it wasn't going to be an easy game. Again, we get some more players getting some minutes in here. Some boys that haven't played just yet. Otigbayo in centre back, Parkinson, the young goalkeeper who was promoted from the youth academy, in goal for us. Palmer comes in into that centre defence midfield spot for Chalobah, and Butler comes in again on that right wing with Kadam Materi, I want to say. We decided to actually play him instead of Butler because Butler obviously played the last game. He's still only young. We want to sort of ease him into his minutes, but unfortunately we do actually get a 4-2 loss. Palmer did score from that centre defence midfielder, and then Bernard scored from centre back to get us our 2 goals, but unfortunately 2 losses and a draw from pre-season. But we got our first scout report back from the youth academy. Basically the plan here is anyone who I get the feeling looks decent on that first scout report, we will put into the youth academy, and then everyone else will keep scouting just to see what they're like going forward. And then from the youth academy, once we've got them into the academy, if they look good enough to sort of be involved in the first team straight away, or at least bulk out the squad and be in and around it straight away, we'll promote them to the senior team. And again, that'll just give us some more depth going forward, ready for the championship season, which we have got the opener against Leicester City at home. So not an easy game. I have changed the teams around within the English pyramid from Premier League down to League 2, so they will be the right teams in the right leagues as of the new season starting now. But obviously the transfers and stuff aren't all done, so obviously there will be some of the older players in their older teams, but at least the teams are correct. So we start off by just going through the youth academy of the new players we've got, just making sure their development plans are spot on with sort of what our team is set up to be. We brought in Thomas as a CDM, Hayward as a centre mid, and we've got 2 American left wingers. We've got Cameron Scott, who you can see here. Again, another player with good pace. He looks like a decent player, to be fair. Not too bad passing, shooting and dribbling either. And then the other American left winger was Alex Campbell, who's a little bit faster, not as good a rated. So Scott was 63, Campbell's 62, but Campbell's actually got higher potential overall. His shooting and passing not as good, but a little bit pacier just overall. And then we got the right winger Bennett, Jose Bennett from America. So a couple of good Americans coming through, and he's a right winger. So we've got Americans on the wings, and hopefully they can take us forward as well. So we haven't looked through to see who we could promote straight away into the first team. We decided that Alex Thomas was the first one from that CDM role to provide cover for Nathaniel Chalobah, and then it was a choice between Campbell and Scott really on the left wing, and we decided to go with Campbell just purely because of that potential. Even though he's 1 less rated in a minute, the long-term plan, he's got a bit more potential, a little bit more pacey, and he can provide the cover for Kabaki on that left wing and hopefully do a good job there. So he's on the bench straight away, to be honest. Again, with his pace, hopefully we can have sort of in the future him down the left wing with his pace, Jamal Lowe down the right wing with his pace, and then obviously a big strong striker with Ike Ugbo up top. So hopefully that can be the plan going forward in this formation and for this season going forward as well. But we have the first game, like I say, massive game, recently relegated Leicester. We are at home, but we know how good Leicester are. We know what sort of test they're going to provide us. They've got well, he's not starting the game actually, he does come on in the second half. They've got Jamie Vardy, lifelong Sheffield Wednesday fan, up front for them as well, so we did have a fear that he was going to cause us problems later on in the game. But the first chance of the game actually falls to us just a couple of minutes in. Barry Bannon on the edge of the box. We know what Barry Bannon can do, he's done it all over the years. I remember him at Aston Villa where he scored a couple of bangers from outside the box on that left foot, so we know what danger he can possess. He did have a shot at the start, but unfortunately it did just go wide of the post. And then Ugbo got a good chance just after that as well, but a good save from a Leicester goalkeeper to keep the scores level at 0-0. And then this is what we're really looking to do this season. You can see here, Jamal Lowe, Valor on the overlap. He's a bit stronger than the Leicester defender. He gets through, uses pace, he gets a shot away, but unfortunately, again, the Leicester keeper does manage to reach it and make a good save and tip it around the post for a corner. But it's a good intent from us. We're only 25 minutes into the game. We've had 3 good chances already. We get the corner, and it's a centre-back. I didn't think it would be a centre-back that scored our first goal of the season, but it is, and it's Dominic Iorfa. Again, I think he played for Wolverhampton Wanderers previously and Ipswich at one point as well. Decent pace centre-back, to be fair. He's strong, he's pacey, so hopefully he can do well for us. But about 20 minutes later, just before half-time, unfortunately Leicester did manage to come back and get a goal through Fatwa. I'm not delusional. I knew that Leicester were going to come back. I knew that they were going to get a goal at some point because of the quality they've got in their squad compared to us. But we managed to obviously hold out for the first half to end the first half at 1-1, which was a good sign. We weren't behind, we weren't being absolutely trolloped over by Leicester, so it was a good sign to start with. And then going into the second half, we got a good chance straight away. Barry Bannon with a little flick down header. Centre mid, Ingleson, I thought he was going to bury that one, but somehow he's managed to put it wide of the post, so that was unfortunate. But again, showed good intent that we were getting the chances. But a couple of minutes later, Leicester did get another chance, but luckily they put it round the side of the post as well. So the score stayed at 1-1. Jamal Lowe, we've spoken about him a couple of times in this episode already. His pace is going to be a big problem for opposition teams, and he showed it there. Skipped past the defender, got a shot away with that right foot, but unfortunately again it got tipped around the post. And a couple of substitutions, Kadam Materi in striker coming on, and then the young USA left winger who we spoke about earlier, Alex Campbell, coming on in that left wing role as well. So let's see what he can do. But from the resulting corner from that shot from Jamal Lowe, we unfortunately actually did hit the crossbar from that one. Obviously we've got a goal from a corner already. We've hit the crossbar from a corner, so corners and set pieces could be our making this season. But Leicester weren't going to go down lightly. They broke away. They managed to get a shot away there, but it was a really good save from Charles in our goal. So score stayed at 1-1 going into the last 10 minutes of the game. Leicester did pick up the ball here. Vardy, this is the moment I thought it was going to be. I thought the Sheffield Wednesday fan was going to put us to bed and score that one, but luckily he did put it wide as well, and that was that for this game. So we start off the season with a 1-1 draw. I'm not going to complain about that against Leicester. I know we were at home, and like I say, we've got a fully fit squad at the minute, so I'm fully aware of injuries and stuff happening going forward. But it's a good start, positive. We can take positives from it, and hopefully we can use that going forward. But that's going to be the end of this episode. Thank you for watching. Stick around to keep up with the series. Any suggestions, comment below. Thank you very much.